She wept bitterly. She wished she could turn back the hands of time and ask Kofi to leave early enough. She couldn't believe her own father did this to her love. Kofi, her love, is gone forever. She's ready to carry the bull by the horns. She knows the risks involved, but her determination is unwavering. Her name is Amma. I still remember that fateful evening like it was yesterday. I was sitting outside my hut, watching the sun set behind the palm trees. The air was thick with the smell of smoke from the cooking fires and the sound of children's laughter. As I sat there, I saw a young man, Kofi, sneaking around the village. He was a well-known supporter of jungle justice, and many of us had grown wary of his zeal. There had been a string of thefts in our community, and Kofi was convinced that the only way to deal with the thieves was to take matters into our own hands. As I watched, Kofi jumped over the fence of his girlfriend's family compound. I knew he had been secretly dating their daughter, Amma, for months. But what I didn't know was why he was sneaking around like a thief. Just as Kofi landed on the other side of the fence, Amma's father, Mr. Owusu, appeared out of nowhere. He had just returned from work and was clearly furious. "Who's there?" he thundered, his eyes scanning the compound. Kofi, realizing he had been caught, tried to make a run for it. But it was too late. Mr. Owusu and his sons chased after him, torches in hand. Amma had sensed that trouble had arrived on invitation. She couldn't keep quiet, shouted on top of her voice that Kofi wasn't a thief, but it all landed on deaf ears. I watched in horror as sons caught up to Kofi and set him on fire. The flames engulfed his body, and Kofi's screams echoed through the village. I was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or look away. Amma rolled on the ground and cried out rivers of tears. She didn't want to believe that her love, an innocent young man, is gone forever. As the villagers gathered around, Mr. Owusu stood over Kofi's burning body, his face twisted with rage. "This is what happens to thieves," he spat. But as I looked on, I realized that Kofi wasn't a thief. He was just a young man who had made a mistake. And now, he was paying the ultimate price. As the flames died down, the villagers began to murmur among themselves. Some said Kofi had gotten what he deserved, while others whispered that justice had not been served. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Kofi's support of jungle justice had ultimately led to his own downfall. And as I looked around at the somber faces of my fellow villagers, I wondered, what would happen next? As the days passed, the village was abuzz with whispers and warnings. Some said that Kofi's ghost haunted the compound where he was burned, seeking revenge on those who had wronged him. Others claimed to have seen him wandering the jungle, his body still smoldering from the flames. I tried to avoid the gossip, focusing instead on my daily chores and responsibilities. But it was hard to shake the feeling that something was off. The village felt restless, as if the very fabric of our community was beginning to unravel. One night, I was awoken by a faint scratching sound outside my hut. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. Slowly, I crept outside to investigate. That's when I saw her, Amma, Kofi's secret girlfriend, crouched beside the fence, her eyes gleaming with a mixture of fear and determination. "Amma, what are you doing here?" I whispered, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked up at me, her face set in a fierce expression. "I'm looking for something," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Something that will prove Kofi's innocence." My heart skipped a beat. Innocence? What was Amma talking about? "What do you mean?" I asked, my curiosity getting the better of me. Amma hesitated, glancing around nervously. "Meet me at the old baobab tree at midnight," she whispered. "And come alone." With that, she vanished into the darkness, leaving me with more questions than answers. What was Amma searching for? And what did she mean by Kofi's innocence? I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being pulled into something much bigger than myself. Something that could change the course of our village's history forever. I couldn't sleep that night, my mind racing with questions and worries. What was Amma searching for? And what did she mean by Kofi's innocence? As the clock struck midnight, I made my way to the old baobab tree, my heart pounding in my chest. The tree loomed above me, its branches creaking ominously in the wind. Amma was already there, her eyes gleaming with determination. "Thank you for coming," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "What's going on, Amma?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Amma hesitated, glancing around nervously. "Kofi didn't steal anything," she said, her voice firm. "He was framed." My eyes widened in shock. Framed? By who? Amma's eyes locked onto mine. By my father. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Mr. Owusu, Amma's father, was one of the most respected men in our village. Why would he frame Kofi? Amma's eyes filled with tears. "My father has been hiding something," she said, her voice cracking. "Something big." And Kofi stumbled upon it. Suddenly, the pieces started falling into place. Kofi's support of jungle justice, his secret meetings with Amma, it all made sense now. But what was Mr. Owusu hiding? And how far would he go to keep it a secret? Amma's grip on my arm tightened. "We need to expose my father's secret," she whispered, "before it's too late." I nodded, my heart racing with anticipation. I was in this now, and I was determined to see it through. But as we turned to leave, I saw a figure watching us from the shadows. A figure who didn't want us to uncover the truth. My heart skipped a beat as I recognized the figure. Mr. Owusu's most trusted advisor, Mr. Courting. He was known for his ruthless tactics and unwavering loyalty to Mr. Owusu. Amma's grip on my arm tightened. "We have to get out of here," she whispered. But it was too late. Mr. Courting had already seen us, and he was moving towards us with a sinister grin spreading across his face. "You two are meddling in things you don't understand," he sneered, his eyes glinting with malice. Amma stood her ground, her eyes flashing with defiance. "We know what you're hiding," she said, her voice steady. Mr. Courting's grin faltered for a moment, before he regained his composure. "You don't know anything," he spat. But Amma was undeterred. "We'll expose you," she said, her voice dripping with determination. Mr. Courting's face twisted with rage, and he lunged at us. But we were ready. We turned and ran, dashing through the darkness as fast as we could. We didn't stop until we reached the safety of Amma's friend's hut, where we collapsed on the floor, gasping for breath. But we knew we couldn't stay hidden for long. Mr. Courting would come after us, and next time, we might not be so lucky. We had to come up with a plan, and fast. But what could we do against Mr. Owusu's ruthless advisor? As we caught our breath, Amma's eyes locked onto mine. "We need to gather evidence," she said, her voice firm. But where could we find evidence against Mr. Owusu and his advisor? And then it hit me. The answer was staring us right in the face. "The village elder," I exclaimed, my mind racing with excitement. "He's been around for decades. If anyone knows the truth, it's him." Amma's eyes widened in understanding. "Let's go," she said, already moving towards the door. We made our way to the village elder's hut, our hearts pounding with anticipation. What would he tell us? As we entered the hut, the elder looked up from his stool, his eyes twinkling with curiosity. "What brings you two here?" he asked, his voice low and soothing. Amma took a deep breath before launching into the story. She told him about Kofi's death, about Mr. Owusu's secret, and about our quest for the truth. The elder listened intently, his expression unreadable. When Amma finished, he nodded thoughtfully. "I know what you're talking about," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "But I must warn you, the truth is not for the faint of heart." Amma and I exchanged a nervous glance. What could be so bad that the elder had to warn us? The elder leaned forward, his eyes glinting with a hint of fear. "Mr. Owusu's secret," he began, "it's not just about theft or corruption. It's about something much darker." Amma's grip on my arm tightened. "What is it?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The elder hesitated, as if unsure whether to continue. But then, with a deep breath, he began to speak. And what he told us changed everything.